Hello, everyone. At the end of this year, I wanted to take the opportunity to say thanks to all of my followers for the tremendous help, sympathy, and support to our cause that we have enjoyed basically since the beginning of this year. It is highly appreciated and it means a lot to us. As many of you may have noticed, I've recently been censored once again on LinkedIn. This time it seems to be irrevocable. No specifics have been given as to which rules were violated, and it seems like the case has been closed. So, of course, it's always the same reason, violation of their rules. This is, of course, not good news, but we hope that you will find us and our messages and the information we provide through other channels and also through our website, which we will make sure we update on a regular basis. Anyway, I also wanted to take this opportunity to briefly share with you where we stand today with this pandemic and where I think we are heading to. So, first of all, as a vaccinologist and virologist, I have to conclude that the mass vaccination program has been a complete failure. And the explanation is very simple. It's because there has never been a sound scientific rationale for it. On the contrary, this mass vaccination program has in fact ignored some of the most fundamental principles in immunology, virology, and essentially also evolutionary biology. And the single most ignored element in this mismanaged pandemic has certainly been natural immunity. More specifically, innate immunity. So the stakeholders of these mass vaccination campaigns have thought that they could easily outsmart the virus by replacing innate antibodies by vaccinal antibodies. But exactly the opposite has happened. They have been outsmarted by the virus. The virus has now overridden vaccine-induced immunity by turning to a new variant that is not only highly infectious, but that also escapes from the vaccinal antibodies. And of course, we still see studies where people report that the vaccines are still efficacious against Omicron. So that is, of course, the new variant that recently emerged. But so that the vaccine is still efficacious after the third boost. But of course, these data are based on an analysis that has been conducted within 2 weeks after the third dose. And none of this analysis has been done, for example, per age group. So it's very difficult to see whether the impact on the different age groups is the same. It's also not unlikely that the effect observed after 2 weeks is due to non-specific effects that come with vaccination. And there is also, of course, data in vitro in the lab that show that the antibodies induced by the vaccine are still capable to some extent of neutralizing Omicron. But also these data are not necessarily reliable because we know that the neutralization assay in the lab, in vitro, does not necessarily correlate with neutralization in vivo. But anyway, so resistance to vaccinal antibodies would be, or could be rather, good news in a sense that this is setting free nature's innate antibodies and by doing so, there is a window of opportunity for natural immunity to control the variant, to control the virus, even in vaccinees, and finally allow populations to generate herd immunity. So that is also the reason why it becomes now so important to take good care of your health, of your physical and mental health, since these are the key pillars of innate immunity. Innate immunity, which constitutes our first and important line of immune defense, not only against SARS-CoV-2, but against a multitude of other infectious and even non-infectious immune-mediated diseases. However, we cannot rule out that because of the high level of infectiousness of Omicron, that the price that we are going to pay for gaining herd immunity may be higher than the price we would have paid in case of a pandemic of a less infectious virus. Let's say, for example, the parental Wuhan strain. However, this should not be a problem because it has been shown that early outpatient treatment can be successfully implemented to prevent disease and especially to prevent severe disease, and therefore decrease the burden for the hospitals. However, in order for early treatment, early outpatient treatment to be implemented broadly, this would of course require the support from public health authorities. So instead of opposing early outpatient treatment, public health authorities should promote it instead of bothering about the conflicting interests of the stakeholders of mass vaccination campaigns. With regard to those stakeholders, I can only hope that they will have learned their lesson, namely that lack of science combined with arrogance and megalomania is only making things worse and prolonging the pandemic. So we can only hope that they will not make the same mistake by vaccinating against Omicron, as this could have very detrimental consequences and could even potentially lead to our downfall in future. So my hope is that in 2022, insanity will make room for sanity. So thank you so much for your attention. And with this, I'm wishing you from the bottom of my heart a peaceful and healthy and prosperous new year. See you again next year. Thanks.